until my research is complete. I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Come on, I don't have all night.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Nurse, this room is off-limits, and I'd prefer to keep it that way. Make sure the rest of the staff are so informed.
Of course, Doctor. And what about the antiseptics? Or do I inform the staff that you're too busy?
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... Balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. It's locked, all right. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? The chest was originally open to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then, he tried to operate on him again. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody...
How long must I wait, damn it?
Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir.
How long's it going to take to fix me? A month? A year?
You have the right to disapprove of our methods.
His dead flesh needs it.
This is no time for self-pity.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett's did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
I can't say I approve of what you did.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain the epidemic must be our priority, so we can't afford to lose Dr. Tippett.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
How are things here?
Not...
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but... how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
I will not let you down, Mike.
circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swan...
Well, it's a youth.
How is...
Well, not.
What?
Mild.
How...
Or long.
You...
It's.
You... No...
I wish I could believe.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
How can we be sure we're making a difference?
You always knew the work you can't. As for me,
I cannot enter. Good evening, Doctor. What?
I was...
You...
Thank...
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel... empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addictions...
You dared to enter this awful place alone?
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Effect on me. But the suffering continues. I wish I could be sick again.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital...
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea. But my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here. You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round. The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Do you need?
The matter of Lady Ashbury's...
Oh, I know too much about this matter already. I'm confident in trusting the interests and...
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
What do you expect of...
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
You mentioned something about a secret society. A brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you...
As men of science, our first step is always to start with...
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed.
The sun.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe.
He was a Skrull, technically speaking. The debate rages as...
Just for clarity, what differences are there between...
A Skrull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable.
How do Skulls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a less...
I have met Lady Ashbury.
She's a fascinating woman, wouldn't you agree?
She told me you've been doing all in your power to cure her addiction for blood. Though unsuccessful...
Lady Ashbury is a cherished friend of mine. I would not betray her secrets without her consent.
We'll see each other again.